You ever have that one person you just can't get out of your system? Like a song that got stuck in your head years ago, and for some reason, it keeps playing in the background no matter what you do. You go on with life, work, friends, bills, birthdays, but that melody just lingers there, faint but constant. That was me with Emily. And that supermarket moment, the day I finally saw her again, that was the day the song finally stopped. But to make sense of that, I need to rewind a bit. Not all the way to the start, but enough so you understand why that one random Tuesday afternoon hit me the way it did. I met Emily in a parking lot. Not the most romantic place, but that's real life, right? I was helping my buddy Marcus jumpstart his car after a concert downtown. She was parked next to us, trying to squeeze her little blue Civic between two monster trucks. I remember she rolled down her window and said, "If you two are done playing mechanics, could you move before I die of old age here?" I laughed. She didn't. 5 minutes later, she was helping us with jumper cables because apparently Marcus had no idea what he was doing. By the end of it, she called us useless men and drove off. I figured that was that. But 2 days later, I bumped into her again at a coffee shop near my office. She looked up from her laptop, gave me that smirk, the kind that makes you forget your name, and said, "You owe me 5 minutes of my life from the parking lot." And that was it. Hooked. We were together for almost 3 years. Long enough for her toothbrush to find a permanent spot next to mine, long enough for her parents to start calling me son-in-law, and long enough for me to think she was it, the person. She wasn't. When it ended, it wasn't a dramatic explosion. No screaming, no flying plates. It was quiet, which somehow made it worse. One night, over takeout Thai in an episode of The Office, she said, "I think I'm done trying to fix something that doesn't feel broken, but just doesn't feel right either." That line replayed in my head for years. Doesn't feel right. What the hell does that even mean? I'd have preferred if she said I messed up, cheated, leaked, something I could punch a wall about. But no, it was about feelings. Invisible, slippery things you can't argue with. I moved out the next day, left my half of the furniture, took my dog and my clothes, and told myself it was fine. It wasn't. You know how people say time heals everything? Yeah, that's cute. Time doesn't heal. It just buries stuff under work schedules and grocery lists until one day you don't notice the weight anymore. But it's still there. I dated. God, did I try. There was Jess, a nurse with a dark sense of humor. Kara, a yoga instructor who believed my energy was off because I didn't like kombucha. And even Laura, who genuinely thought The Godfather was overrated, which should have been a red flag right there. But no matter how nice, funny, or beautiful they were, every one of them ended up standing in Emily's shadow. Jess once told me, "You're a great guy, but you always look like you're somewhere else when I talk to you." She was right. My body was at dinner, but my mind was still in Emily's apartment, listening to the way she hummed when she made coffee. I deleted her number, blocked her on social media, avoided our old places, but she was like smoke. You think it's gone, but you still smell it on your clothes later. Then came that Tuesday. It was early spring, that in-between season where you can't tell if you need a jacket or not. I was running on autopilot, just doing grocery shopping after work. The store was half empty, fluorescent lights humming like an old refrigerator. I grabbed a cart, threw in some frozen dinners, coffee, a couple of beers, and a bag of dog food. And then, boom, aisle 4, baby products. I wasn't even supposed to be there. The dog treats aisle was next to it, but I took a wrong turn because they'd rearranged the damn store since my last visit. That's when I saw her. Emily. She was standing by the diaper section, her back slightly turned. Her hair was shorter now, darker too, and she wore one of those oversized sweaters that make you think of rainy Sundays. She looked peaceful, tired, maybe, but peaceful. And in her arms, a baby, a little girl, maybe 6 months old, with a tuft of hair sticking out like a cartoon character's. For a second, I froze. My brain didn't process it right away. It was like seeing a ghost holding another ghost. I could have turned around, could have walked the other way and avoided it entirely. But I didn't. I just stood there, my hand gripping the cart handle like it was a lifeline. Then she looked up. Our eyes met. You know that moment in movies where everything goes slow-mo? That's a lie. Real life doesn't do that. It's messy and awkward. I blinked. She blinked. And then she smiled. Not the old teasing smile. not the one that used to undo me. Just a quiet, warm smile. Recognition, not emotion. Hey, she said softly. Hey, I echoed, because apparently I'd lost the ability to speak English. For a few seconds, we just stood there. Then the baby made a little noise, a gurgle, and Emily adjusted her hold. This is Lily, she said. My daughter. Beautiful name, I managed. And I meant it. She nodded, maybe a little proud, maybe a little shy. She's 6 months. That's wow. Congratulations. Thanks. There was a pause. Not the uncomfortable kind. More like the kind that sits between two people who once knew everything about each other, but now don't know what's off limits. She finally asked, how have you been? That question. The one that everyone asks and no one really answers. Good, I said. Work's the same. Got a house. Dog's still alive. You know, adulting. She laughed, just a short chuckle, but it sounded genuine. That's good. I'm happy for you. And that's what happened. That shift. That release I didn't see coming. I looked at her, really looked, and realized I wasn't angry. I wasn't jealous. I wasn't even sad. It felt like someone had quietly opened a window in a room I didn't know was suffocating me. For the first time in years, I didn't see the version of Emily I kept in my head, the perfect one I'd been holding on to. I saw a woman with slightly tired eyes, holding her kid, standing in the baby aisle on a Tuesday, living her life, and I was fine with it. We chatted for a few minutes about mutual friends, her move to another town, how she met her husband. Yeah, husband. She mentioned him casually, like you'd mention the weather. I didn't flinch, not even inside. I just nodded, smiled, and found myself genuinely happy for her. Before leaving, she said, "It's really good to see you, Tom." You too, Em. And that was it. No tears, no shaking hands, no movie ending. Just two people who used to love each other, now standing in a supermarket aisle, surrounded by discount diapers and baby lotion. I walked away, turned the corner, and exhaled so hard I nearly laughed. I felt lighter, like I've been carrying a backpack full of bricks, and someone finally told me I could drop it. That night, I took my dog, Buddy, for a walk around the neighborhood. The air smelled like rain, and for the first time in a long while, I noticed how good it felt just to breathe. I thought about how weird it was, how something that once defined your whole world could fade into just a chapter. You think you'll never move on, and then one random Tuesday, you do. Not because you force it, but because life just keeps going. That's the thing nobody tells you about closure. You don't chase it. It sneaks up on you while you're picking out dog food. The weeks after that, I noticed small changes. I started sleeping better. Music didn't sting anymore. I stopped checking my phone for no reason. Even dating started to feel different, lighter, more genuine. A month later, I met Rachel. Not in some grand, cinematic way. She was my neighbor's friend, helping her move in. We ended up talking over pizza boxes and warm beer. She was funny, a bit sarcastic, and had that kind of smile that looked like she knew more than she was letting on. We started seeing each other. No expectations, no comparisons. I didn't tell her about Emily, not right away. But when I did, I told her the truth. That chapter's over, I said. And for the first time, I'm okay with that. She smiled and said, good, because I'm not a fan of sequels. Sometimes I still think about that supermarket. Not in a nostalgic way, just as a marker. A point in time when something inside me finally clicked. You can't plan those moments. They just happen when you're not trying so hard. If you told me back then that I'd feel relief, actual relief, seeing Emily again, I'd have laughed in your face. But that's the beauty of it. You never know when the story shifts from heartbreak to freedom. Let me tell you something, though. I wasn't some saint after the breakup. There were ugly parts. Nights with too much beer, phone drafts I never sent, replaying arguments, and wondering what I could have said differently. My friends were patient but blunt. Marcus, the same guy from the jumper cables incident, once told me, "Man, you treat this breakup like a full-time job. Take a vacation." I told him he didn't get it. He did. I just didn't want to hear it. Then there was my sister, Claire. She's the type who thinks emotional pain can be solved with brisk walks and podcasts. Every family dinner, she'd ask, "You still thinking about her?" "Not really," I'd lie. She'd raise an eyebrow. "Then why are you stirring your mashed potatoes like they insulted your mother?" She was right, too. I think everyone has that one heartbreak that brands them, the kind that reshapes how you see love, trust, even yourself. For me, Emily was that brand. But brands fade eventually. They leave a mark, sure, but they stop hurting when you touch them. Funny thing, a few weeks after that supermarket moment, I ran into Marcus again for beers. Told him the story. So, you're telling me, he said, you saw the infamous Emily, the woman who single-handedly ruined your Spotify playlist for 3 years. And you didn't spiral? Didn't even flinch, I said, grinning. He leaned back, impressed. Well, damn. Growth looks good on you. Yeah, I said. Feels pretty good too. He clinked his bottle against mine. To closure. To finally getting there, I said. Sometimes, late at night, I catch myself wondering about all the little choices that led me there. What if I hadn't gone shopping that day? What if I turned left instead of right? Would I still be carrying that old ache around? Probably. Life's funny like that. You spend years trying to get over someone, and all it takes is one random encounter in aisle 4 to set you free. I guess what I'm saying is, love changes form. It doesn't vanish. It just finds a new place to live. Sometimes it turns into gratitude, sometimes into a quiet memory, and sometimes, if you're lucky, into peace. That's what I felt that day. Not excitement, not longing. Peace. The kind that doesn't make noise. And when I walked out of that supermarket, sunlight spilling over the parking lot, I swear, it felt like the world finally exhaled with me. So yeah, I met my ex in a supermarket with someone else's kid in her arms. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel broken or bitter. I felt free. And trust me, that's a better ending than any movie could have written.